Hi, I wanted to share this post with you while I can. I say while I can because I had tooth surgery this morning, which involved extracting one tooth and a bone graft. And so I sit here having just taken an ice pack off my face, and I can already see the swelling. And and I've been told that this is just going to get worse and worse. So right now I can speak, even though I'm conscious of not putting my tongue on this side of my face. So, but anyway, it works now. But I've been told that from days 2 through 5, it's gonna be a mess. So, anyway, here we are. Mostly, what I want to share with you is really about a dream and a dream council we had uh, at this weekend's Mythic Warrior. This past weekend, Mythic Warrior had its sixth weekend out of the 8 months that it goes, and we did many things on this weekend. We danced to our death around a fire, a dance honoring our death and welcoming it in around a fire in the dark. We It was a lot focused on death as an advisor. To really ask those questions: what do I want to do with the time left for me? Uh, what needs to be completed? What would I really grieve if that didn't happen? And then we actually had a funeral in which each man, when their name was announced, collapsed on the floor, and they were carried up onto a platform, and a sheet lifted over them. And while they were underneath the sheet, uh, we read their eulogies, which they had written themselves, what they would want said to them, said about them at their funeral. And then after the reading of the eulogies, we had, a few men come up for each person and speak about the person they knew, and and some kind of a lesson and a message in their dying. So it was an incredibly rich weekend. But the part that I want to get into was this question. We had started on Friday night, and we went out and did this dance to our death. A fire was lit. We had big speakers out in the field, and a kind of musical track. And first we danced, for about 4 minutes to a selection dance to just celebrate all the battles we'd fought, celebrate all those things we did in life, all that we engaged with, whether we would label ourselves successful or not, the relationships we had, maybe going to college, the adventures we took, et cetera, et cetera. And then after that, the next selection, again, 3 or 4 minutes, we danced to say goodbye to the earth and all the places that we'd loved, gardens, rivers we'd regularly canoed down, mountain ranges, places we'd hiked, etc. And so we danced, shouting out our thanks and goodbyes to them in the darkness. Then round three, we danced to actually say goodbye to all the people. Well, let's say creatures, people, and maybe some pets that we'd loved during our lives, and we kind of imagined them all out there in the dark, and we danced 3 or 4 minutes, shouting out our thanks and our gratitude to them. And then in the last selection, we danced just for death. Imagine after all that was done, we danced to death as, quote, he or she, if you would like. We danced to death as he or she came closer and closer and closer to take us. And at some point, there's the music built up to a crescendo and a peak. There was a countdown from 20 down to 1 and 0, and when 0 came, the men just collapsed in the field, and then felt was what it was like as all of their hopes and dreams, all of their promises, all the words of love or expressions of love they had wanted to make but didn't, just faded out of their grasp. And anyway, the dance went on from there. But um, after the dance, we came in back into the indoor space in quote the barn, and before going to bed, we did a dream induction, and I won't talk to you with the particulars of the details of the dream induction, but we took this question to bed with us, asking for a dream around this subject. Um, what needs to die so that I can move forward into a greater life? So we went to bed, uh, uh, kind of our last moments awake, holding and using a piece of guided imagery to ask for a dream around that subject. And then in the morning, we held a dream council.